Right, hello everybody. I thought today we'd have a little look at fuel tank repair. So I'm going to be attacking a fuel tank, or a couple of fuel tanks, with angle grinders and welders, MIG welders, and doing a bit of brazing, so oxyacetylene. Now, if you're going to be using that type of thing on a fuel tank, you've got to make sure that the tank is completely degassed. Okay, so all the fuel's out of it, and lid's been left off for a long time, or it's been properly steamed out, dried out, etc, etc. If you think you've degassed something and you re-enclose it, you'll find the fumes will all return. So you've got to be very careful with these sort of things, and you've got to, you don't want things exploding on you all around the workshop. It's not nice. So always work safely. I'm going to be looking at two tanks today. One wants a complete overhaul, really. It's got a whole slice down the back of it that wants, or underneath it, that wants replacing a big plate. And the other one, again, wants the taps changing. There's going to be brazing involved, so I'll be showing you a oxyacetylene brazing kit and stuff, or at least be using it. And hopefully this is a bit informative to people, just to give you an insight of what you have to get up to when you're restoring a motorbike. Now, you either restore a bike with its original patina on it, or you buff the thing to within each of its life. So in this particular case, one's not a particularly old tank, and the other one is. So this one, the first one that I'm looking at, is the one with the taps want changing. So someone's put them, it's already modified this tank once in its life, and yeah, they've put them tap pods at a bit of an angle. My plan is to cut them out, make a new plate, and weld them back in. Now, when I've welded them back in again, I might be doing a technique called brazing. So I've MIG welded them in, so that's metal to metal, mild steel, and now I'm going to go brass to mild steel. Now, this particular tank had lots of holes wanted filling in. It's used to its original form. It had a little tank frame just sitting on top of the tank there to sort of strap your maps to, or bungee things to. And of course there's the two little holes either side of the tank that holds the badges on. Well, this guy wants a smooth tank, so I'm filling them, and I'm filling them nice and proud as well. And what I've got there is I've got an oxyacetylene torch in my right hand, and I've got a piece of brass in my left hand. I'm heating the end of the brass stick, if you like, and I'm dipping it in a flux, warming up the mild steel with the torch, and dipping the brass rod, which will melt at a lower temperature anyway, and getting the end of the rod to blob molten, drop onto the steel, and fuse, obviously. Now, these little holes are like little retainer holes, so they'll have some air in them, and they're a real nuisance to try and braze up. If you trap a little bit of air like that, it could expand really quickly, and it could explode on you as well. You certainly don't want any wall around the place or anything like that. You can cause a bit of steam, and it will spit bits of brass at you. It's quite a potentially a dangerous process. Anyway, that was the first tank. Now, the second tank was a little bit more involved. I suspect that this thing's been sitting on a side stand, water's accumulated in it, and it's rotted away. And particularly one side. The rest of the tank is in actually quite good nick, but the bottom of this was really rusted. I approached it slightly in the wrong way. I was trying to keep as much original tank as I possibly could, where I really should have cut out a great deal more than I did, really. There was a fixing at the top, a little bracket that had a hole in it, and the tank was sort of scalloped, so when you bolted it up, the end of the bolt wouldn't dent the tank. Do you know what I mean? And you'll see it in a minute. So yeah, it was a bit of a palaver. Should have done it all in one big flat plate, but I was trying to keep the original shape, so I was messing about a little bit. So what I did do though is I cut out a fairly sizable slot, let's put it that way, and left the taps in. That seemed okay. Didn't get a lot of leakage right around the sort of tap end. I tested this before I started to see where the major leaks were, and yes, it was a colander. And yeah, that's basically what I came up with. I left one end. I had to patch the top end in the A. You see that little dent there? That's a new plate, MIG welded in, as I said. And if you're really good with a MIG welder and you go nice and steady, there's no reason why you should get any leakage, unless you're trying to weld something that's pretty peppered. That's the plate I came up with. and I'm just holding it with a magnet there, and yeah, that's what I'm getting to weld into the bottom of there. And again, I'm MIG welding. Now I could purge the inside of the tank, put some CO2 in there while I'm MIG welding, so it'll look nice both sides, just like you would if you was TIG welding as well. In fact, I would probably, only because I was in a bit of a hurry, I would probably on a normal day, oh, well, let me put it this way, if it was a paid job, and it wasn't, I would have TIG welded this. But I've got braze on hand as well, so I'm going to MIG weld it, and if I get any little blowholes, I shall just braze them up. And that was the same technique as you saw me doing earlier. So we're getting on it quite well, and that's what I came up with. A nice big fat plate. It was a little peppered along that edge, so I kept messing about backwards and forwards, so I just brazed the lot. And that's what you get. That's what you have to do, and just how far you have to go sometimes when repairing stuff. Like you say, you can't weld rust, so you've got to cut away what you need to cut away. And obviously make sure you fully degas your tank before you start. Okay. Well, look, I hope this has been informative. So it gives you an idea of what sort of things you have to do to repair, renovate, or customise a fuel tank. And I might fatten this into a fatter video later in life. But there you are. There's a starter for you. Have a good life. Stay safe. Oh, and subscribe. I'm going to do more motorbike stuff. I make sculpture as well, but yeah, check it out. This is my first motorbike one anyway. Okay, everybody. Have a nice day now. Stay safe. Bye now.